I was 30, we had a big party for my 30th birthday in August. I was able-bodied. I had a daughter who was 7. I was happily married. I worked full-time. By September, I'd had a form of a stroke, which on a Saturday night I collapsed. By the Sunday, I was being told I would never walk again and I would be in a wheelchair. I was paralysed completely down the right side of my body. Quite a shock at the age of 30 when on the Friday before this happened, I was completely healthy, no issues whatsoever, and it just happened out of the blue. Life was unbelievable, to be honest. I mean, to begin with, the shock was enormous. My husband had to come out of full-time work to care for me. We had a house that was not adapted. I had steps to my front door that we couldn't get me into the house. When I did get into the house, I had no bathroom facilities. It was quite hard going. It was an enormous shock. But for the first 12 months, I think you grieve for the person that you were before. I think that you sort of want what you were, and you can't understand the changes that have happened so significantly. But we started to pick ourselves up. My daughter was incredible. We had at the time a social worker, I'll never ever forget it, who said our situation wasn't the norm, that it tends to split families up. And I can remember thinking that. I still think back about it now and think, why on earth would somebody say that to a family that are in this situation? That, let's be honest, we were in crisis at that point. I was suddenly a full-time wheelchair user. I didn't have the independence of an electric wheelchair, so I was having to be pushed everywhere in a manual wheelchair. It was incredible. It was such a sort of almighty situation to be in as a family. When I think back about it to where I am now, I just can't believe it, to be honest, where we've come to. But I've got the most amazing husband. We're still happily married. My daughter is 23 and now actually in her final year to be a paediatric nurse herself. So she's gone into the caring role herself from me actually being in the situation I've been in. We've got a fantastic family unit and we're very, very close. And, you know, things move on. It's now 15 years since I went into a wheelchair and life has changed beyond belief in that 15 years.
Hugely resilient. That's all I can say. You're hugely resilient. And to have somebody tell you that your family could be broken apart by this must have been quite devastating. I know firsthand that your husband is extraordinary. I've been speaking to you on a few recently, and he's been back and forth providing support, getting things for you, and he's at your side all the time, and that's helped you to do what you do. And what you do is extraordinary because you work for Wrexham Football Club and you've been doing that for a number of years as a volunteer.
I certainly have. I've been working at the football club for 3.5 years. So sort of 12 years into having been in a wheelchair, I'd never been able to work again. I'd finished my job at 30. I thought life was sort of over for me from a point of a working position. And I've always been a massive fan of Wrexham. We were season ticket holders, myself and my husband, at Wrexham Football Club. So I heard about a job that was coming up for disability liaison officer, and I at the time thought it was going to be somebody to welcome fans on a Saturday, check people were okay, tell them where the toilets were, just generally welcome people. And I thought, I could do that. I think I was, by this time, I was getting my confidence back. I think for a long time at 30, I lost the person that I'd been before going into a wheelchair. At 30, I completely lost my confidence. I would avoid people I knew in town rather than have to stop and talk in a wheelchair. But I was sort of 11, 12 years on in the situation, I was finding Kerry again. I was finding the confidence of the Kerry before 30. And I thought I could do that. I could make a little bit of a difference and have a role within Wrexham Football Club.
Since you've joined the side, you said that they've dramatically changed your life, saved your life.
Completely. I owe everything to Wrexham Football Club. I mean, at the end of the day, there was an interview process. There was people interviewed who were able-bodied for that job. I went in and did the interview as a wheelchair user, and I didn't think I had a chance with that role, if I'm totally honest with you. But the fact that I was given that opportunity, they bought into me. They gave me that chance to prove myself. And I feel that there's so many people in wheelchairs that say, oh, I couldn't do it, or I couldn't work. And I hope that this proves to people you can do it and you can achieve. And the fact that they bought into me and gave me that opportunity to prove that I could do this job means everything to me.
You've made huge strides with the club, making it the first in the league to introduce accessible away travel. How important is it for the fans with disabilities that was put in place?
Oh, huge, absolutely huge. I mean, it was something very, very important to me. I felt that every single person should have the same opportunities. The fact that our able-bodied away fans went away on our coaches we provided to away days, why shouldn't wheelchair users have that same experience? So I set about finding accessible travel. I organise it. I organise the bus. I take the money. I purchase the tickets from the away game. I get in touch with them to discuss where we're all going to sit. I'm completely run that service. It's changed lives. We've had a young guy who's been a Wrexham fan all his life long, who had never ever been to a away game before because his parents weren't comfortable travelling out of the area to take him. So he went to his very first away game. I've had a grown man in tears the first time he travelled with us. It's changed lives. The atmosphere of that bus is unbelievable. At one point we all travelled down to Leighton Orient. We had to stop en route in the services, and that to me was the pinnacle point where I thought we've made a difference here, because we were all unhooked out of the minibus. We all went into the services, and we were sitting there when hundreds of fans arrived on the able-bodied coaches, and we were amongst them, the singing, the chanting, the atmosphere in a service station, and I'd enabled our wheelchair fans to be a part of that. And that was the bit for me where I thought, wow, this really has made a difference.
You're also making a huge difference at home as well. I spotted on Wrexham's Twitter feed a few weeks ago messages from a family about the autism support you're providing during games. They said they would not be able to attend any games without the support that you have provided. Talk about the autism status that you've helped put in place there.
Yeah, we're very, very proud. We were the first football club in Wales to get autism-friendly status from the National Autistic Society. The things that we've put in place there, I'm getting told on a regular basis by families, are life-changing to the families that are using that area. It really is that big. These are families that are openly saying they could not attend Wrexham Football Club and sit amongst the crowd. That wouldn't be possible. So now we have this quiet zone in place. We have accessible stewards that attend and are familiar faces to the area every single time. We've put a sensory room in place. We also offer waitress service pitch side, because I felt it was so important that people who have got family members with autism going into a concourse to queue for beverages and food, that it's just not possible. So we now offer pitch side waitress service. We looked at the fact that a lot of people couldn't come through the turnstiles. That would be too big a deal to people. So we've done an accessible entrance, which takes people away from the crowds. They don't have to walk through a busy concourse. There is a different route to our quiet zone. I like to call that area our little bit of TLC, because that's exactly what people get in that area. And the fact that they feel that there's familiar faces, they feel the repetition of where they're going, how it all works. We offer blankets, we offer red ponchos if the weather's not good. They can have sensory items they can bring out pitch side as well as in the sensory room. And one of the other things that I actually funded was we offer autism friendly packs. So in those packs they have ear defenders, they have fidget spinners, they have stress balls, they have a few bits and pieces of Wrexham Football Club memorabilia, and they've worked absolutely fantastic. They're something that have really gone down well. And it's something we're very, very proud we've achieved. I felt every single fan that wants to attend Wrexham AFC should be able to, and I want our club to hold no barriers. So by putting this area in place, every single person is able to attend these matches every home game of our season, and that's something that's absolutely fantastic.
You did this prior to Ryan and Rob coming on board with no budget. You had to fundraise out of your own pocket. I know that because I've got spies on you. You bought blankets out of your own money. You put badges on them. You sold them out. They were hits.
I certainly did.
Got even more. You got money.
Well,
what drives you?
I think I found my vocation. I think I found my passion. I absolutely adore what I'm doing. I love the fact that I'm able to help. I love helping. That's what I like to do. We were fan owned. We physically couldn't afford to be giving me budgets and money to be spent out. Money was very precious within our football club in the setup we had. So, but for me to be able to make a difference, I needed funds. So I decided off my own back that I would start raising funds for my own role so that I could then spend accordingly. And I went to our commercial manager, Jeff Scott, and asked, would I be able, if I bought blankets in and I did all the work on them, would I be able to have the profits? And his answer back to me was, yes, buy 50 and see how you go. What we did, we bought red blankets, the same red as our colours. I approached Macron about putting our club badge onto them. We then collected them all from Macron, and we then we rewrapped everything so they were brand new items, and I started advertising them as Wrexham red blankets. I purchased the 50 I was told to by the club. We resulted in, by the end, the final figure was 650 blankets that we sold. They have become the famous Wrexham red blankets. That's what they're known as around Wrexham. So it was a huge hit, and I've got to say, fans have bought into me. I couldn't do what I'm doing without the fan support from Wrexham AFC. Fans have bought into me hugely and support me, and that money gave me funds to then be able to set up a sensory room. I actually fund the difference, or I did fund the difference with our away travel. It's run like a taxi service, so people would pay the same price as the able-bodied people to go to an away game, but there could be, if we were going down south, there could be a £400 or £500 difference in the total for that journey than what I was taking in on the bus. I would pay that out of my funds because it was important to me, it ran. So I took over all my own fundraising and I funded everything from the disability liaison officer role right up to when Ryan and Rob came on the scene.